We hate to talk about it. We hate to think that it could really happen here in our cozy, comfortable United States. But it's official for anyone who's been doubting that the food shortage is coming. And Joe Biden made that announcement himself. So for anyone who hasn't been paying attention, now's your time. Whether you've been preparing and you have your own garden, maybe you have some chickens or ducks so you have eggs and meat if you need it, or raising cows, whatever you're doing, if you're doing it already, you're in a good spot. If you're trying to do it now, good luck. Time to catch up. And if you still doubt it, you might leave yourself in a pretty bad spot. So let's look. This is what Joe Biden had to say the other day. I found a clip of it on Twitter. So let's bring that up for you.
Nothing more to report. With regard to food shortage, yes, we did talk about food shortages. And it's going to be real. The price of these sanctions is not just imposed upon Russia. It's imposed upon an awful lot of countries as well, including European countries and our country as well.
And we've been talking about this. We talk about it a little bit on our show, just briefly, but in private and on other social media chats that we've been involved in, we've been bringing this issue up. There's a pending food shortage. It's coming. And it wasn't only due to Russia and Ukraine. A lot of this has to do with supply lines, mishaps and backlogs, whether it be ships not being allowed at port or truckers not being allowed to enter the port to pick up the cargo from the port, whether it be from businesses having to shut down so they're not producing and there's not people available to deliver it, and then there's not people available to stock the shelves with it. All these things weigh into it. And then you have, Joe Biden sending us into this conflict with Russia and Ukraine through NATO. And a lot of people are overlooking the fact that Russia and Ukraine, they're not just petroleum. They're heavily relied upon for the agricultural industry, whether it be, mostly for fertilizer. So this is about to get really nasty, and also for wheat products, I believe. So if you haven't started looking into it, you should probably consider a few of these options. I'm just going to pull a few pretty simple things up that most people should be able to do without breaking the bank. And, you don't have to be an engineer to do it. So we have this one right here. So this is a rainwater reclamation system. So obviously you don't want to use all your own water. And if you're on public water, who knows how expensive that might get when everything is desperate and, people are fighting each other for food. You're going to want to use every bit of the resources you can that don't cost you any money. So a system like this one's a little bit of an elaborate system, but that system, you hook up barrels and just a spout coming off of your gutter to collect the rain. And there are other systems that are simple but have a couple of other measures involved with filters and strainers to keep nasty things from getting into that water. But if you're not intending on drinking it, you can still use it for gardening, cleaning, whatever you might need it for. Let me pull it back up, actually. So, this one, you've got several barrels. I imagine that they're tied together through plumbing so that they each fill up. And then there's a port at the bottom that's connected to this manifold so that if you're the homeowner if you had this system, then you can put your bucket underneath and get the water you need and bring it over to your garden. That's one thing. That's one thing that you're going to need, or you should have, in this coming food shortage. And just everything else. It's like chaos out there. You're looking at the shelves and they're already going dry. And let's see, we've got some other things. Another really simple thing for anyone who's considering it. This is a Spud Box. A Spud Box is pretty easy to build. You could build it with scrap wood, and you start with one layer. You fill it with soil and the pieces of a potato, the spud. They start growing, and then you build the next layer. You fill it in, and you start another row of potatoes. And you can practically make this as high as you want. Most people only go a few tiers, but it's going to produce a decent amount of potatoes. I know you don't want to live off potatoes, but if you don't have food, you're going to be happy you have these if you don't have other food. So that's a big one right there. So, and they're not hard to find, the instructions to build these. It's the same with the water reclamation system. So you can go right onto Google and search rainwater collection system off the gutter. You can search how to build a Spud Box, and these are very simple things to do. They don't require elaborate tooling. You don't need an education as an engineer. You don't need to be able to read mechanical drawings and blueprints. You literally could just look at a couple of pictures, and it's trial and error. You shouldn't ruin anything on your home. So obviously if you're pulling your gutter off, just be careful you're not ripping it out of the siding. But you shouldn't be, through these systems, shouldn't be any irreparable damage that you can make to your home trying to build and start running these systems and have them there for you in case you need them. So this is just a quick video. I just want everyone to be aware, because you saw the video of Joe Biden at the beginning. This is under a current media narrative that has tried to keep you from panicking about everything. They keep trying to tell you everything is just transient. Nothing's a big deal. But you have to understand that the people telling you that, while they're telling you that, they're telling you it's going to be fine. But in their own private lives, they either have enough money, like ungodly amounts of money and assets, where it really won't matter. They're going to be able to barter and do what they need to get things, and they have influence. Or they've already been acquiring these assets, if you will, for survival. So just do yourself a favor and your family a favor, and any friends and people that you care about, do them a favor and start establishing this, and let them know they need to be establishing this stuff, so that if the time comes that you need it, you're not behind the 8 ball. And another thing is, you can find storable foods. It's pretty expensive, but they last like 25 years. This isn't a paid ad, but My Patriot Supply is a good vendor for that. You can get 6 months, 3 month supplies, 6 month supplies, and they're good for up to 25 years as long as they're stored in the right conditions, which I'm sure they come with instructions on that. So just consider those things. Be ready for the food shortage. Understand that the average people are going to be an afterthought. You are not going to be the person or the group that the people in power care about. They're going to be looking out for themselves like they always do. We, the people, are always dicked. So don't let it happen. I'm out.